guys, welcome back to Path of the Valkyrie, and we're playing episode 4 and 5, I think. It's been a bit of a time coming. Okay, so look at my points. I think this one is change. This one is order. I think this is glory. I don't know. Look, I have no idea. I've forgotten, but I have been excited to play this. I just had to take some time to get around to it. My husband is feeling a little ill, and with that, which is scary for me because I'm pregnant. But we're managing. But it's been strange quarantining in your house, in your own house, away from someone you live with. But anyway. We're here to immerse ourselves in the game. So this episode is called The Fair Maiden. The shining sphere shimmered mockingly. Next to it sat Leod. She nodded to Melody and smiled in greeting. There is hope for you yet. You are cheating right on time, or what are you doing here? To be fair, she never said that she wasn't gonna be here. I feel like we're a little cheeky, so I'm gonna be right on time. Melody tried to hide the fact that Leod's appearance took her by surprise. Change, okay. Okay, so if we want change, we kind of be like a little cheeky, like kind of like just immerse ourselves like right into it. I think that's fun. I need you to be the type to watch from the front row. Or are you here to help me? Do you need my help? Why would I? Of course not. Then why are you still talking? Leo looked appraisingly at Melody. There may have been a tinge of mockery in the giantess' eyes. Oh, so she's like a giant? Well, she does look big, but... Do you want a sword or not? How long should I wait? Oh! Melody clasped her an annoyed glance. Why is everyone here so mysterious and impenetrable? The spark kept on shining. All right, then. She held her breath and inched forward, arm extended. At the very least, should anything go wrong, I'll only hurt one hand. Leo tensed. What have you got here? The giantess wrapped her coarse palm around Melody's forearm without warning. What, the mark? What is it? Leo put Melody's arm closer, peering at the tattoo. Don't you know? Her palm opened, releasing Melody's arm. That's very fresh. How did you manage to catch Odin's eye? Long story? Leo nodded in understanding. Then it will be your payment for the sword. The story? Oh. Isn't that too little to ask? On the other hand, what else can I offer her? Alright. Okay. Sure. Tell you a story if you want to know that badly. I don't know. Don't know why she wants to know. That's interesting. Leo nodded approvingly. Take the spark. Melody whipped out her arm and closed her fist around the shining sphere. Something scorchingly hot flowed from the spark and painfully scored her forearm. Ouch. Melody opened her fist in reflex, and the sphere floated above her palm as if magnetized in place. Leo cocked an amused eyebrow. Well, you did as I asked. Let's get back before they trash my forge. Knowing Loki, the lava parted, releasing them from its viscous embrace. Melody nested the spark in one hand and tried to pull herself out of the lake with the other one. It proved to be very non-trivial. Argentinian swamps were easier to get out of than this flaming puddle. Leo drew herself up in a single movement and watched Melody struggle with a slight smile. Damn it. Her hand slipped and Melody started going back under. Do you want my help? I'll manage. Help me. Do you have a rope? Well, if you're gonna help, just hand me a rope or something. I do. What do you intend to do with it? I don't know. At least I'll have something. Well, if you could throw it to me, I could grab onto it and get out of here. Leo started giggling uncontrollably. You want me to throw a rope into lava? Melody felt herself blush rapidly. Oh, I didn't think of that. A magical rope that doesn't burn? Leo, still chuckling, leaned in, grabbed Melody by the armpits, and lifted her straight up. The lava popped, releasing its prey. Hey, you don't weigh much. You're like one of Freja's kitties. Leod is interested in you. Okay, well, at least she thinks I'm funny. Thank you. She felt increasingly embarrassed. Hanging like that was a novel experience. Leod's arms felt stone hard and held Melody tightly, but carefully. Put me down, please. Leod sighed and put Melody down in the hardened lava. Hey, you're back, love. He gave her a cursory glance and turned back to the anvil. A frowning Ul stood across from Loki, and white bones could be seen between them on the metal surface. So, Ul, you wanted to play a game of chance with me? Although there's not much left for you to bet, is there? Sigir watched disapprovingly, standing a ways off and not interfering. Ul tore himself from the game and saw Leod. He made several halting steps towards her in frozen indecision. Hey, what about our game? The archer paid him no mind. Leod. His face was a mask of shame, sorrow, and a deep sadness. Ul finally went to the giantess and hugged her awkwardly. Oh. I'm sorry. Save your pity. She slapped his arms aside and looked into Ul's face. What's going on? Loki looked surprised as well. That's interesting. He opened his mouth to ask something, but Sigurd stopped him. Stay out of it. You're boring. Leo's shoulders suddenly looked less tense. That doesn't matter anymore. But Leo interrupted him with a wave of her hand. You need arrows, right? Take your pick in the Vault of Steel. Ooh, the Vault of Steel. His eyes glimmered with enthusiasm. That's triple the price for you, Loki. And don't even think of stealing anything. I'll keep an eye on him. The giantess nodded graciously at him. And get your bones off of my anvil. Leo stood near the forge and critically looked at Melody over. What kind of sword do you want? What are my options? Ooh, I get to choose. We have Wind Carver. Troll Bane. Ooh, I like the name of that. It seems kind of specific though. Or a Serpent's Tooth. Wind Carver. Troll Bane. I like the idea of her, like, where we see her on the front cover with, like, this big-ass sword. I just watched, like, a Chinese movie lately. And this little girl, she just fought with this big-ass sword. She could, like, barely kind of lift. She, like, had this, like, weird style of just kind of, like, swinging it, like, using its momentum and then letting it, like, thunk on the ground. It was hilarious, but it was great. That's kind of what I'm envisioning, so I'm kind of thinking about getting the Trollbane. Trollbane. We also gotta think. One of these would probably be... You think this is a choice of one of the skill choices? Which one would be change? I don't know. Well, something called Trollbane. Probably more change-worthy. Either way, I want a big sword. I think she looked dope with a big sword. My favorite type. Woo! Change! Yay! Very well. She set down her tools in an arcane pattern. Then she produced an ingot of some metal. Excuse me. Gosh, it's like... Lord. Indigestion has been like crazy. Squeeze your eyes shut. A bright flash momentarily blinded Melody despite her closed eyes. Ow. Something hissed violently. When Melody finally blinked back the tears, the forge shone with an almost unbearable white light. What's that? The spark is merging with the steel. The giantess picked up a pair of tongs and quickly tossed the white-hot, not-yet blade onto the anvil. The deafening blows of her hammer sent sparks and slag flying everywhere, beating the shape of the sword into existence. Leo moved easily, never stopping for a moment. It's beautiful. It's like she's dancing. The blade's shape hissed loudly in a traw, turning from a beautiful red gold to an unassuming gray strip of metal. Is that my sword? You're not very patient, are you? She drew in a lungful of air and sang in a low, practiced voice. Unfamiliar words strung themselves into a melody, and the sword lifted into the air. Small pieces of excess metal rained down like sand grains, revealing a gleaming blade. Leo's voice grew harsher, more demanding, and the edges of the blade thinned, turning into razor-sharp lines. Whoa. Unidentifiable pieces flew to meet the blade, and a strip of leather snaked through the air, wrapping itself around them and forming the hilt. The giantess nodded in satisfaction and plucked the sword from the air. Done. Now, tell me how you got that mark. Alright, story time. I'll tell it colorfully. A good story is worth a good story, right? It all started when I got this job. Leo listened carefully, never once interrupting Melody. Then Hugin and Munin attacked. I fought them off as best I could in a true storm of feathers. Then Lucky caught them in a net, and I thought it was over, but then one of the feathers dissolved in my hand and turned into this tattoo. Melody exhaled, catching her breath. And then... Wait. Loki. Apparently I just got him in trouble. His red-haired head poked from behind a nearby stone. I didn't want to interrupt your girl talk. Right. She quickly stepped to the stone and loomed menacingly over Loki. Is there anything you want to tell me? What about? I know a lot of stories. If you keep testing my patience, I'll crush your tiny neck and throw you into that lake over there. Ooh, kinky. Oh my god! Leo flared. I've got to do something before they kill each other. Can we, talk calmly, not throw him in the lake? Wait for secure and ul. I don't know what to choose here. I don't think talking calmly is an option for these two, nor is waiting. How about we just settle for not throwing him in the lake? Oh no. I don't know. Maybe you wait. Hey. They might want to see this. I didn't know you were the watching kind, love. Melody frowned and made a show, cracking her knuckles. I think that worked. I don't know. Ul and Cigar turned the corner, carrying a bundle of arrows and a short blade, respectively. You're right on time. Cigar lifted his eyebrows. Is the sword ready? Leo postponed her plans of ending Loki and turned to them. It is. Trollbane, my own design. Then my request won't distract you. I found regular arrows, but do you have anything deadlier? The giantess harumphed, surprised. I just might. Ooh. They entered a large hall lit by smokeless lanterns. Shelves reached the ceiling in random rows along the hall like bookcases in a library. Armor and weapons lay on the shelves instead of books and scrolls. Why do you need so many arrows, Ul? Are you going to war? No, I'm not. I simply ran out. How so? We fought. Fought whom? First, a thrice-damned Alasiaga. Where did you even find one? In Ildelir. You're not serious. I ran out of enchanted arrows then. Later, Odin's guards will attacked us. Why would they be after you? She shook her head and thought, although, of course they did. And you spent your entire quiver on them? They were stronger than I'd have liked. We had to run. Leo's eyes twinkled with amusement. I never thought I'd see the day when the god archer, the sly thief, and the herb master ran away from a bunch of semi-sentient bundles of sorcery. God archer. Interesting. We'd have managed, but we had Melody with us. Bitch, don't play on me. The giantess's words obviously cut him deeply. Hey. In that case, you could use some armor, Melody. Just so the great warriors don't have to worry about your safety on the battlefield. My safety? How about when we were fighting that Aliciaga thing? They ran behind me. Excuse me? Don't blame me. What's it gonna cost me? Don't worry about that. We'll make even one day. That felt demeaning, but the offer is way too good. She nodded and Leo took silver armor sets off of their shelves. Here, try this on. We have meal, fun, heavy armor, ooh, or light armor. No. Where they're going with this stuff. I like the little cape thing. But this gets us closer and closer to looking like how we did on the front cover. Just saying. Yeah, I'm gonna rock with this. Melody felt very clumsy in her new outfit. The giantess noticed her distress and smiled. You have to get used to each other. That armor is magic. That's great, of course, but I can't wear it constantly, can I? Listen here. It will appear on you should you be in need of your protection. Oh! I don't want to sound ungrateful, but that's complete nonsense. Leo smiled slightly and handed Melody the sword. Try it. It's so— oh! Look at her! It's gorgeous! Oh my god! I didn't think it would be glowing like that. What? Look at this sword! Should we say beautiful or comfortable? Let's go with comfortable. I want her to be comfortable with it. I don't know. Or should we go beautiful? Oh my god. I don't know. Comfortable? The hilt felt very right in her palm. Melody tried— oh, that's order. Boo. Melody tried a few practice swings. The blade pulled out at her hand and almost flew out of her grasp. Leo made a face. You're holding it wrong. Teach me. Is that the story's romantic music? Hello? I can't make you into a warrior with a snap of my fingers. Nobody can. I understand. But you can show me how to hold a sword, can't you? Well, to begin with, we'll have to work on your stance. Melody gathered herself up. I'm ready. Sigurd and Ul moved away, demonstrating some amount of foresight. Loki made himself comfortable near a shelf and prepared to watch. Leo moved to stand behind Melody and put her hands on Melody's waist. What are you doing? Easing you into the right stance, of course. Loki giggled obscenely. Leo cast a warning glance and slightly pressed on Melody's pelvis. She smells nice, like bitter oranges. Don't bite me, bend your knees. Melody felt stupid, but followed Leo's instructions. The giantess's hand slid along Melody's thigh. Okay, definitely the romantic music. Move your weight onto the forward leg. Oh. This is ridiculous. I should get a hold of myself. It was really hard to concentrate. This foot over here and the hand. Leo likes teaching you. Okay, romantic interest, I think. She slightly lifted the elbow of Melody's sword hand. There. Leo made a few steps back, assessing the result. Melody froze in an unfamiliar stance. Like this? That will do. Next, you need to learn how to step. We don't have time for that. Why not? It's very likely someone will come for us. We can't stay here for long. The giantess shrugged. Why stay here for long? I'll gather my things and off we go. You're coming with us? I guess it makes sense if she's on the LI. What? Why? I'm restless. Something's going on. Besides, it looks like I can teach you a thing or two about combat. Oh, I didn't even see her biting her lip. She gave Melody a long, steady gaze. But you don't even know where we're going. I do, and even if I didn't, what's the difference? The road is calling me. She turned her back on them, demonstrating that she won't spend any more time on idle chatter. Wowza. Well, the more the merrier. It didn't take long for Leo to gather her things, and soon they found themselves on the road again. Let's do a hair switch up. After looking at this one again, I'm kind of feeling this. So what are my other outfits again? Can I just rock this? I like it. Like, I know I don't have to wear it all the time, but I want to. Or I can either wear my marker or not wear it. I'm gonna wear it. Let's rock this for a bit. Loki kept frowning that both Ul's arrows and Cigar's blade were paid out of his pockets. That's what you get. Ul and Cigar were less than gracious about it. The archer led them through the heat-blasted landscapes of Muspelheim for a long time, trying to catch up to a thin place. They made the passage, found themselves on an Yggdrasil branch, familiar but different. Melody was too tired to pay attention to her surroundings. She kept shuffling along the bumpy bark, trying to ignore the distant howling of wolves. Come on, faster. The bark turned to a path, a real one, snaking through blooming, fragrant grass. Melody stumbled. Leod, walking nearby, thrust her hand and arrested Melody's fall. Ul turned, confused. What's wrong? What do I say? It's clear that I'm not alright, but I don't know, I can try. I don't want to say that. Sounds super whiny. I'm alright. I simply stumbled, that's all. Are you sure? Melody nodded, concentrating on putting one foot in front of the other. We'll make camp soon. The day's coming to an end. I wouldn't want to run into trouble in the dark. Cigar nodded in agreement. I know this region. Jerkin used to stand here long ago. The Hall of Fair Vanadis? He shook his head and thought, do you think there's someone still living there? There should be. Loki cocked an eyebrow. Did something happen there? Don't you know? I thought everyone heard. I'd also like to know. Oh, I don't have enough. Okay. Cigar frowned. You're just wagging your tongue. It's a bad story, not worth telling. He picked up his pace and moved forward. His back was all kinds of disapproving. Well, what happened there? There once lived a fair and unconquerable maiden by name of Vanadis. Her hair was like spun gold, and her eyes rivaled the summer sky itself. Ul smiled in reverie. She was kind and welcoming, good-hearted, and smart. The best men of the whole land came asking for her hand in marriage, but nobody could melt her heart. Until one day, Sigurd, son of Ulf, came to woo her. He offered Vanadis riches untold, and this angered Dagrun, the snake witch, who long had her eye on Sigurd. The archer made a meaningful pause. What happened next? Dagrun summoned all of her snakes and braided them into the snake sphere. Vanadis' beauty and Dagrun's own greed blinded her. So she cast a spear at Vanadis and pierced her clean through. Leo scoffed in disbelief. That's interesting. Ul gave him an irritated glance but continued. And so it happened that Vanadis turned into a white birch with leaves of pure gold. There are rumors that when the leaves on the birch turn green, the worthiest of men will pull the snake spear out and Vanadis will come back to life. It's a good story, but the details suck. How do you braid snakes into a spear? Well, that's possible, but piercing someone through with a cast spear? Oh, that's possible. But piercing someone with that is not. Haven't heard that snake witch was any good at throwing spears. Archer rolled his eyes. I've seen the silver birch with gold leaves with my own eyes, the spear piercing it too. And you'll see it for yourselves. It's still standing there. Oh, I will make sure I do. Huh. I think something happened. I don't know if it quite happened like that. The air quickly grew colder and colder. The trail led them through autumn copses of bright yellow leaves and flowers. The trees got denser, but the trail looked just as well traveled. See, Ul, there's people using this road. Using it, yes. Although, he squinted and looked around. You may be right. Looks uninhabited. Leo stepped in some horse droppings and incinerated the mound. Inhabited isn't the word I'd have used. The birches hit a clearing in which stood a small village. Oh, this is a tree? A birch grew in its middle with a trunk of silver and leaves of gold. It looked like a beautiful young woman threw up an arm trying to protect herself from something. The shaft of a spear stuck out of the birch. The road brought them to Jerkin. See? There it is. Oh, I see it. I see it perfectly. Cigar approached the golden leaf tree and bowed his head respectively. The door of the nearest house opened and a stately, elderly woman stepped out. Welcome to Jerkin, travelers. What brings you here? We came. Stay the night. Stay silent. To worship Vanadis. The woman nodded. The prophecy of Hunla the Volva regarding the awakening of Our Lady Vanadis brings many travelers to Jerkin. Loki tensed. What? The signs can be seen already? What is he on about? Sadly, the green of rebirth hasn't yet touched the golden leaves. But the time is favorable, or so the Volva says. If you truly need a roof to sleep, that trail will lead you to the 7 springs. She waved a hand past the houses inside the forest. If not, sleep wherever you like. You'll be safe here. May your road be easy and your night restful. The woman bowed slightly and disappeared behind the door. Crap. What's wrong? I'm not about to sleep under a tree. Leo, the mighty and frankly scary Valkyrie, prefers to sleep on soft furs and down mattresses. I do. First, I don't like forest. Second, do I look like a rookie? And you, Loki, are this close to getting a fist up your... The Valkyrie narrowed her eyes dangerously. Ul shrugged. We can try to get to the 7 springs. Cigar, do you know, is it far from here? The herbalist looked weirdly detached. Hey, Cigar. Cigar. What? Is it far to 7 springs? Not. We should be there by dark. What's wrong with him? I hit the trail, trying to race the quickly setting sun. I'm so tired I can barely move my feet. path of change. Can we maybe just set up camp in the forest? I can't keep going for much longer. Leon made a disgusted face. I don't care where we sleep. Cigar nodded, deep in thought. The forest is truly good here, but we shouldn't camp in the middle of the road. Loki sniffed. There's water nearby? A lake? Yes, we could camp there. Sorry, Leon, I'm tired. A female voice came from somewhere beyond the trees. Silky smooth, tender like a cat's purr. The voice sang a soft and quiet, flowing song. Cigar started, shaking off his thoughts. Vanadis. What? That's her voice. Vanadis. Cigar, how do you know? I've heard her before. That's definitely her. That's her favorite song. Hello? Maybe it's just a similar voice? As if under a spell, Cigar went into the forest, lured by the song. Ul shrugged and went after him. I can't miss something this fun. So, are we going after them or what? Looks like we're not making camp yet. Again. Ooh. Under the rays of a setting sun on the shore of a scintillating lake, two women tended to their beautiful horses. Cigar watched one of them, completely enthralled. That's definitely her. How long are you going to stare at her? Cigar looked embarrassed but didn't answer. Should we come closer? We'll deal with whatever this is and we'll be on our way. I can't. Why? I simply can't. I'm done. The giants left the cover of the trees. Hey! The horses snorted in fright and pinned their delicate ears. The fair-haired woman started, lost her footing, and fell into the water. The other, raven-haired, turned to the forest and raised her hands as if warding something off. Run! I'll hold them off! All we did was say hey. The grass on the lake moved in waves. Melody squinted and gasped. She's a snake lady? Snakes. Worse. Snake witch. Can I burn them? The horses reared and toppled the fair-haired girl back into the water. Leo yanked an axe out of the thin air and flourished it in anticipation. Here we go. Let's beat them up or we come in peace. She started it. Even if they're venomous, Cigar will heal us, right? That's the spirit. Leon moved to the raven-haired girl, scything a red path through the snakes with her axe. She thrust her hands upwards. The fair-haired girl finally stood up. Stop, please don't fight. Cigar finally shook off his torpor and stepped from behind the tree. Vanadis. Cigar? So it sounds like instead of Dagran being someone who did something horrible to her, they just kind of like ran off together. Loki giggled. Yeah, right. Turn into a tree, my ass. Stop fighting. Dagran, please stop, please. The raven-haired girl froze but did not back down. They saw you. They won't hurt anyone. Ul shrugged, confused. Looks like the awakening of the tree will not happen as promised. Melody felt exhausted. Vanadis proved to be a generous host and approached feeding her unexpected guests with the enthusiasm of a beloved auntie. Cigar couldn't take his eyes off of her. What else was there to do? They came and came and came on. I couldn't just kill them all, you know. Leo nodded and poured herself more beer. That's right. You could have thought that I'm the only bride worth pursuing, and the others are not. They can be excused for thinking that. Vanadis laughed, hiding her smile behind a dainty palm. I appreciate it, Cigar, but my denial still stands. Loki watched the interaction with evident pleasure. By the way, Dagron, that's a decent illusion. Almost as good as one of mine. No, it's just as good as one of yours, sly thief. He scoffed derisively in response. It's no better, I meant to say. I have more experience. Whose plan was it? Mine. I wanted to avoid bloodshed. Ul saluted her with his goblet. Our host is smart as she is beautiful. I don't know. Shouldn't seem that bad to me. Yeah, she's cool. She must be a goddess. And likely ancient. It's probably why my eyes are constantly drawn to her. She's like a work of art. She completely lost the thread of the conversation. I'm tired. Wonder if there's a bath here. Melody, I can see you're falling asleep, you poor thing. Do you want to wash up first? I do. Anna's nodded in satisfaction and rose from the table. Come, I'll lead you to the spring. Behind the house, hidden from view by dense shrubbery and surrounded by carefully placed stones, a hot spring came through the earth, filling a small pond. Melody sighed with pleasure, lowering herself into the water. That's good. The bath felt good, godsend after her impossibly long day. Could everything start going for the better now? She didn't want to leave the water. I'm alone for the first time in the last 2 days. I missed it so much. Her happiness didn't last. She heard steps behind the shrubbery. Who's there? She heard someone answer. Ul or Loki? It's because I'm the closest to those two. Archer stepped from behind the shrubs, carefully avoiding looking at her. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to disturb you. He spread his hands apologetically. Did you need anything? Yeah, I was looking for an unoccupied spring. He's making such a show of not looking at me. Is it because he doesn't want to embarrass me or because he likes me? In that case, I'll ask him to wait. I'll tease him. It'll be a little cheeky. I wonder how he'll react. There's no space here for the both of us. Archie looked straight at her. You're a feisty one. You don't like it? I haven't made up my mind yet. She swam to the shore and stood up. Maybe this will help you make up your mind. Jesus! Ul watched her intently. She smoothly walked past him and picked up her towel. Ul is interested in you. Woo! Your offer is very tempting. Oh, really then? Well, it's no longer on the table. Make up your mind faster next time. He smiled a secret promise and nodded. The house was quiet. Melody carefully reached the bench and made herself comfortable on it. Sleep washed over her in a heavy, viscous wave, dragging her under. The voice was calling her again. Okay. I feel like I missed a few points of change. Because we started with 10. And even though this says 5, I only got 3. So is it saying that I could have gotten 5? No, because that can't be right. Because it said I got +2 here. How many did I start with here? I thought I said I had 10 glory. You know what? I heard there was a glitch where the front screen points weren't correct. Not all the time. Alright. What happened in Jerkin? See, now the thing says that, like, unless I lost a glory point, which I don't think I lost a glory point. It didn't tell me that I lost a glory point for me to have 9 all of a sudden. I don't know. But it said 10 at first, didn't it? I could have sworn it did. Maybe it was supposed to say 8. I don't remember, guys. I don't know. Jerkinar. I don't know if the brush pronounced a B or not. Jerkinar or Blaze. She flapped uselessly in sticky darkness, desperately looking for an exit. Damn. No up, no down, no way out. Only a low and demanding voice. She turned around once more. Melody dropped onto a stone floor. Oh no. An old man sat imperiously on an ancient, intricately carved wooden throne. Two ravens, one coal-black, the other snow-white, grabbed the headrest with their talons. Hugin and Munin, Odin's ravens. Looks like Loki was right. A gleaming spearhead pointed menacingly straight at her. Why am I here again? Step back. Usually step back ends up with us tripping on something. Call out. I mean, he clearly knows I'm here. But who am I calling out to? I don't know. Hey! The sound dispersed a few steps away. Hey! Silence swallowed her voice. What eldritch crap? A tall, powerfully built warrior appeared in a shaft of light. He bowed his head respectfully, greeting Odin. The ravens flapped their wings as if impatient. We're ready, All-Father. Who the what? Who'd that be? The old man nodded back. Find the Woebringer and the Bounds Breaker. Woebringer? Bounds Breaker? Okay. So looking for like two people? So who's the Woebringer? Who's the Bound Breaker? I'm clearly one of these two. Am I the one who brings woe or breaks bounds? I can feel them. They are close. The spears shall be cast over their heads. The spear, like the one in the tree? That's what Loki was like. Maybe Loki's one of them. The spear in his hand trembled hungrily and darted off as if thrown by a giant. Damn. Melody woke up covered in sticky sweat. She shuddered. Again. She rose from the bench and the wet fabric clung unpleasantly to her body. Disgusting. I think Vanadis won't mind if I borrow one of her outfits. I'll just apologize. Hope I can find something that will fit me. She leaned over her chest. An ornate gown. A rich gown. Or a simple gown. I like this one. Let's mess with our hair again. We can go back to the braids. Trying to pick an outfit distracted her somewhat, but the dream lingered. Her thoughts kept coming back to what she had seen. Maybe it doesn't mean anything. It could have been just a dream. But what if it's not? She exhaled, irritated. This won't do. I'll drink some water or clear my head outside. She said she was kind of sticky. Maybe we can drink some water? I don't know if we should just be roaming outside. I don't know, guys. Let's try the water. The house was quiet and dark. She heard indistinct singing from outside, but decided to ignore it. Switch barrel holds drinking water. Maybe the singing was the other path? And if it was singing, then it could have been Vanadis. Well, should we go back then? Switch barrel holds drinking water. She went to one of them and peered inside. Hey, Lef. He spoke right into her ear. She quickly sprang aside and turned. Loki stood right behind her, smiling. Loki, why are you sneaking up on me? I wasn't sneaking up, you're just not paying attention to your surroundings. Is there anything good in that barrel? She sighed, trying to calm her wildly beating heart. What are you doing here? Spying on me? Where did that come from, love? The worlds don't revolve around you. Right back at you. Loki spread his hands, mocking her. That's their loss, let me tell you that. Right. Let's tell Loki about the first dream. Should I tell him about this one? Not like I can make sense of it myself. Well, it's not like he'll tell you anything anyway. Well, looks like I have to do something in either way. I need to be demanding about it. A good one, I hope? No, it had Odin in it. He looked apprehensive. Like last time, or was it something new? It was new. Molly tried to give him the best account she could. Loki waved a hand pensively. But Hugin and Minen are still in place. She exhaled in relief. So, it was just a dream? I wouldn't count on it. Tell Loki about the dream. I wonder if that's important. Melody sat on a bench and Loki straddled a barrel. Tell me about Odin. You and your midnight questions. If I get started on Odin, we'll be here for the next 100 years. Then tell me something useful. I know almost nothing about him. Useful. Huh. Well, you met the ravens. Odin also has 2 wolves. Jerry and Freki. Right bastards to both of them. Gary and Freki. He nervously rubbed at his arm. The guard wolves we met on Yggdrasil are pale imitations. Okay, somebody got bit. My dream ended with Odin's spear flying straight at me. Does it mean anything? Well, if Odin casts Gungnir at you, that's it. What's it? Let's put it this way. It's kind of hard to survive. Gungnir strikes unerringly, love. And Odin got it because of me. Quite a misstep on my part. I should have kept it. At least now I know what to be afraid of. On the other hand, could he be lying? Melody looked at him out of the corner of her eye. Your relationship with Loki isn't good enough at this point. Oh, to be like romantic? That's fine. Loki jumped down from the barrel and stretched. Well, since you don't have any other questions, I'll go catch some sleep. You should do that too, love. I am pursuing Ul. The rest of the night passed without incident. She rose from the bench and pensively felt her hair. I'm completely disheveled. Whoa. Got Nordic braids. Waves. A simple ponytail. Huh. Huh. I don't know which one to go for. I feel like they both kind of suit her. I'm a fan of red hair. I like the design of this hairstyle more, I think. Prefer if that one was red. But the red of this is making this one pop to me. Not sure how I feel about the braids in the front. I like the style of this one more. I like the style of it. I like the color of this. But I don't know if I could deal with the braids. The braids look strange. I wish they were like pulled back or something. I would pick this hairstyle. I think I'm gonna pick this one now. She heard a scream from the room next door. Loki! Something crashed on the floor. Molly decided she didn't want to miss out on the fun. Is that how you repay my hospitality? What happened? Cigar shrugged, standing nearby. Loki said something, again. Vandus kept cursing at Loki like a sailor, and Melody couldn't make any sense of what Vandus was saying. Mice told me. Ul and Leo peered into the kitchen. What's going on? I wish I knew. Venus didn't appreciate my little joke. A little joke? You ruined my life. Loki, have you seen what's going on there now? I haven't had time to admire it. You noxious deer droppings. Loki's eyes narrowed dangerously. Like we were about to pick a fight. Defend Vanadis. Look, I don't know her. I don't know her like that. On the other hand, I'm pretty sure Loki probably deserves whatever he's about to get. She's like, you ruined my life. What could she possibly mean by that? If he's the woe bringer, then he possibly could have ruined her life. Actually. And that's why trouble kind of follows him around everywhere, because anybody who gets connected with him ends up having troubles. My theory is that Loki is the woe bringer. I could stay out of it, but I don't know. I don't know what Loki did enough to defend him, though. Lord. Venice is gonna listen to you if you keep yelling like that. Venice will remember this. Yikes. Venice drew in a lungful of air, indignant, and turned her wrath on Melody. You have no right to lecture me, girl. Or what, you're gonna pull my hair out? You won't even reach your shorty pants. The room grew visibly darker. Because Loki decided it was time for the birch to become green, the entirety of Jerkin is waiting for me to appear out of that tree. Which means that my quiet, simple life here is at an end. Why? They'll pull up the spirit shaft for a bit and they'll calm down. They won't. Leave my house, Loki. You have no place here anymore. Vanadis, Be quiet, Sakaar. I have to deal with the mob of suitors all over again. She turned imperiously and left. Why did he do that? They walked in silence through a birch grove. The day was pleasant, but the tension in the air was not. Oh, come on, you're so sour one could think Ragnarok is about to happen. Well, why did you do that? How could you even think of doing that, Loki? Yeah, please tell. The prophecy of Hunla the Vulva. You don't mess around with prophecies. Sakaar nodded. I worry about her. The Vulva? Vanadis. Why did he do that? They walked some more. I'm hungry. Let's make camp then while it's safe. What would you like to eat? Okay, so he did that because he wanted to see... First he said it was a joke. Then he said he wanted to see the prophecy. She clearly faked her curse so she could get away from all that nonsense, and he just kind of ruined it. If they haven't forgotten about it in all this time, then yeah, I kind of think they won't down. And you gotta remember, I think he is the Willbringer. Unless Odin just calling him that because Odin is Odin. And you can't trust shit he said because he's an asshole. He'll claim anybody's a Willbringer and then decide, oh, they need to die. Just because it suits him, because he's scared of them. Scared of his own fucking shadow, Odin is. I'm gonna redo that. I don't like Loki's reasoning there. But I need more teacups. And now that we know what happens on the other side, I'm kind of wondering about doing the other thing. Now, think I'll give it a peek. What's that? Melody had to wander for a bit before she found the exit. The night greeted her with cricket calls and the quiet rustling of birch leaves. I wonder was it important that I tell Loki about the dreams, though? And I'll learn something interesting, because this way I won't learn anything about Odin. The wind brought with it a slightly bitter odor of herbs and voices. Cigar and Vanadis? She couldn't make out any words, but the voices sounded calm. She didn't want to go back to the house. Wonder what they're talking about. Let's find out. Maybe I'll find something useful. She carefully approached the garden and stood behind a hedge. Just leave those flowers alone. They're beyond help. I may not be as strong as before. He ran a hand along the stem of a flower and it moved. Its leaves straightened and a fresh bud swayed gently as the flower grew. But I'm still good for something. You should make peace with them. What can I do? Flowers just aren't my thing, and I never asked you to make me a gift of them. Cigar spread his hands apologetically. I was young and stupid. I thought I'd plant an entire garden for you and your heart would thaw. Vanus laughed quietly in response. You're a good friend to me. The others didn't manage even that. Is that why you put on that show? Why else? Do you have any idea what it's like when all everyone sees in you is a pretty face? Like I'm a thing to collect. Like I'm prey. I believed it, you know. Then I did everything correctly. She gracefully brushed a lock of hair off of her face. I didn't think you stay in Asgard. I had to make a choice. To live there or not to live at all. Are you still angry with Odin? Cigar laughed bitterly and shook his head. After what he did to me? How could I not be angry? You've witnessed something curious. People forgot me. The wounds from his spear closed, but my powers wane with each passing day. Soon, darkness will take me. Is that why you're going to Mimir? You hope for help? I don't want to go to Hell's Lands, but I didn't plan to leave Asgard, not until Loki showed up. Vanadis nodded. It's late. Thank you for the talk, Cigar. She went to the house and Cigar crouched back among the flowers. I should leave before they notice me. She managed to avoid bumping into Vanadis in the doorway. Okay. The rest of the night passed without incident. Okay, so on the note on the other one says that I told Loki about my dream. The note on this one says that I found out something curious. Which I did. I got some better insight into both of their characters. It's enough to think that I don't want to defend Loki in that instance. I think he did the wrong thing. To be honest, there. But in the other one, I got a skill point, and this one I did not. I don't know. I feel like I'm missing some points. I feel like I might be low when it comes time to needing them, but we'll just keep going for now. She rose from the bench and pensively felt her hair. Okay. I'll catch up from there. Okay, this time I think I'm just gonna stay out of it. Lucky, what did you do this time? Nothing much, just improved dog runs and illusions somewhat. We in the tree? After all, I'm better at enchantments than she is. Okay, that's what she meant by it's time for the birch to become green. They walk some more. Okay, so we're getting food. That's right. It's a really pretty tree. Some dried meats, smoked fish, or flatbread. I'll have some dried meats, please. Like jerky. The food was delicious. Thunder rumbled in the distance. Dark clouds were quickly rolling over the horizon. How can I diffuse the tension? The conversation just wouldn't start. Ul, where to next? Ul rubbed at his chin and thought. We'll pass through the forest and we'll step onto another branch of the Yggdrasil, if the thin place will let us. Loki winced and let out a deafening sneeze, and again. What's wrong with you? Either someone curses at me or... He wrinkled his nose and sneezed again. Several startled birds began circling above the birches. Hugin and Minin had broken free. It's like having feathers at my nose. Damn, is the dream coming true? Sorter, take it. Huh, I bet his dag run, paying you back for the birch. Segura sighed and dug a vial out of his pack. Remember my kindness. Loki did not decline the potion. If it's Hugin and Minin, we should be stealthy. So we've been all along. Really? What about the guard wolves? They noticed us? It's just some bad luck, love. Bad luck. Well, curse or ravens, we should be moving. I want to cross the thin place before dusk. They went a short way. The clouds came in rapidly. Sagar looked up the sky, suspicious. I don't like those clouds. Could that warrior have been Thor? Oh. For a second I thought maybe it was Vanadis or Dagrun, one of them, but Dagrun's more like snakes and stuff. I don't know if Vanadis has magic. I assume she might. But, this said the room visibly got darker. I don't like those clouds. You don't like much, do you? Sagar's right. The day was supposed to be sunny. Oh no. Guys, I think it's Thor. I'll gaze he's turned upwards. I can see smoke. Ul squinted. It's coming from Jerkin. That's definitely not firewood burning. A gust of wind brought the heavy smell of soot. Birches are burning. What else would they use for fire? Should we go check? Sagar nodded and rose as if he'd been waiting for her word. Let's go. He almost ran. He's so altruistic all of a sudden. Priscilla walked right into a trap. The smell of smoke grew stronger with every step. It's burning well. You... Don't look upset? Why would I be upset? Melly didn't find a counter-argument. Right, Venus is mad at us, something's burning. We're running after Sagar into the thick of things. We could be running to our deaths. They saw the village between the trees. Or remained of it, to be precise. Sagar choked. Vanadis? He froze, helplessly looking around. I can't see any blood, no bodies either. I'll go check it out. A gust of wind dispersed a cloud of smoke. Two figures stood near a charred, broken birch, a powerful warrior with a short-handled hammer and a thin woman radiating power. Fun? Loki made a step back. Well, hello there, Loki. He has a hammer. Thor, I knew it! Thor, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm looking for a certain wretch. So this is Thor. Why did you destroy the village? What? He looked away from Loki and turned to regard Melody. Path of High Gore. So that's who you are, a balance breaker. So I am the balance breaker. And if Loki's on the front cover, he's probably the Willbringer. I'm just saying. Wait a spell. I don't have time for you yet. He squinted slightly. I'll deal with Loki first. Thor spun his hammer and threw it straight at Loki. The weapon hit Loki in the chest with a sickening crunch and disappeared above the trees, carrying the redhead with it. Damn it. Armor covered her body instantly. Freak, where's Vanadis? The thin woman turned to him and smiled mysteriously. She's here somewhere. Freak. Freak. In the Thor movies, wasn't his mother named Frigga? I don't know. I'll go collect Loki. You're not going anywhere, Kinslayer. I did not kill Thrud. So that's why she came. She knew if we're in the path of Odin, then maybe it'll put her in the path of Thor. And she thinks Thor killed Thrud. As if your word means anything. She pulled her axe out of thin air and threw herself at Thor. Leod, wait! Crap. Both Thor and Frigg looked much more dangerous than both the Alisiaga and the guard wolves combined. What children's play is this? She gestured with a hand. A pack of guard wolves, covered in dirt and birch tree leaves, emerged from the ground. You're coming with me. We are not. Then take them. The wolf pack attacked. Ooh. Her axe smacked into Thor's flank, but he did not appear to notice. Leod, stop! Everything turned to chaos. Oh no, it moved! Okay, I'm getting another picture. Wolves shot and shot at the guard wolves, keeping them at bay, but new wolves replaced any fallen ones. Sigurd called to the trees to whip their branches at Frigg, who danced amidst a flurry of blows unscathed. It looked like she knew exactly where each branch would strike before it did, if his powers had faded. Leo threw herself over and over at Thor, but couldn't land a good blow. Loki didn't come back, and neither did Thor's hammer. Well, I mean, he can't move it. Help Leo, help Sigurd. I'll deal with the wolves. The wolves! At least I fought them before. The decision made everything seem easy. Melody flung herself into the battle, her sword easily cleaving through paws and muzzles. Take that. She elbowed one of them, thrust her sword through the throat of another. It didn't look like there was an end to the wolves. That's what I was thinking, no. Concentrating on fighting, moving furiously, never letting them close in. The sword sang, leading her arm, and the armor warded off the teeth and claws of the guard wolves. One of Ul's arrows whistled past her, buried itself in the neck of one of the wolves, and exploded, taking the wolf's head with it. Another wolf fell and didn't rise. Melody brushed her sweat-soaked hair out of her eyes and grinned fiercely. Come get some. I'm not afraid of you. But, like, this can't go on, though. Maybe I should have helped one of the others. Oh, shit. A low humming filled the air. Something itched between her shoulder blades. A bright dot flashed among the clouds, quickly closing in. Melody looked up from the battle and saw the spear. Oh, shit. Gungnir. Wait, but how did I know that this time? Run, Melody! Freeze, run, or strike the spear. Its aim is unerringly. And if it came all this way, it probably has possessed some sort of magic, so running from it won't help. I'll just give it a nice big target of my back. Freezing is stupid. I have to strike it. I'll beat it aside. Time stretched, turning seconds into eons. She struck with her sword, trying to redirect the spear away from herself. The blade chimed, meeting the point of the spear. I did it. Gungnir passed through the sword, leaving no mark in its wake. Felt a tight knot of fear settle in her chest. I'm dead. A burning wave of cold ran along her body. Melody! Melody fell into a pile of snow. She flopped in it, trying to get up. The air chilled her down to her bones. Crap, crap, crap. A frozen desert stretched around her, and Melody was absolutely sure she'd never seen a landscape like that in her life. There was not a single soul around. A strong gust of wind blew the last vestiges of warmth from under her clothes. Where am I? I'm kind of confused. What happened there? So did like the spear hit the ground and like burst it open, and I kind of fell through or something? That's my best explanation for what just happened. It's like I read it, but I was like, when you're reading something, but you're like thinking at the same time. So might have missed a little bit. I feel like I'll list a lot of points this time around. That might come back to bite me pretty soon. So I'm pretty sure. How many episodes are in this? What's the name? I bet you I'm gonna be like one short or something. I'm gonna end up like one short somewhere when it's time to find points. To need points, because you're gonna need change or order for something. I feel like I'm like one short. How many episodes are in this season? We'll probably need it like close to the end. Right? Episode 6. But it doesn't say of how many. They changed that. They said they're going to change it back next update, but we're on episode 6. We're still early in the season. I think I might go back and collect anything that I missed. But I'm the bounds breaker. Don't know what that means, but we'll find out. That's exciting. We met Thor. Interesting. And Frigg. I could swear. And she uses magic too. Could be one of Odin's wives. I don't know. But in either case, okay. Loki was being Loki. It looks like he's stuck under Mjolnir right now. I can just imagine him just laying in the forest with Mjolnir just like stuck on his chest. Do you remember like the end of like Thor 1 in the Marvel movies? Thor just kind of like placed a hammer on his chest. He was just like kind of laying there. I'm sure he could probably weasel his way out of it eventually. I don't know if we should have helped one of the others as well. I'm gonna check the walkthrough, and decide how I want to redo that. But I'm definitely gonna redo those episodes. I feel like I waste way too many points. Even if I do the Vanadis scene and not the Loki scene, even though I feel like it's more important for me to tell Loki about my dreams than it is to learn that about those two. Because, I mean, at least now I know that. You know what I mean? About those two. But it's not something my character needs to know, per se. Though. Or is it? Like, can we somehow help Sigurd later? Or something? When we get to Mimir? Like, maybe we can make a deal with Mimir that he won't make with anybody else? I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. But, interesting. Okay. But, okay. Yeah. I think I'm done for now. My recording might be a bit limited given what's going on, presently in my household. But I do have a bunch of Choices episodes recorded. So I'm probably just going to post those for now. Because I don't know what's going to happen in the next, little while. So I'm going to post those for now. I did first 2 episodes of Bloodbound and another episode of Ride or Die. I think another episode of Open Heart too. I can't remember. But yeah, so all that's recorded so I can get that posted as well. But anyway, Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and show that like button some love. Subscribe to see more content like this, and I will see you next time. Bye!